Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Pseudo's Crochet and More. This is your host Crystal. Today I'm going to be doing a stitch tutorial for the half double crochet stitch. Again, if you know what this stitch is, you can definitely skip this video. I won't be offended. But if you're new to learning crochet, please go ahead and watch this video and let me know how you liked it. If there's anything you think I could do better during the video, just let me know in the comment section. Alright, so I do have a cotton yarn that I got from Hooks and Needles. This is one of the mystery extra yarns that I got. It's called Frisia Blends. It is 100% cotton. It's a medium 4-weight. Now it just says on here knitting needles recommended size. I'm going to use a 5mm crochet hook. And this is a boy style hook. You can use whatever kind of hook you're more comfortable with in any size yarn weight. We're going to go ahead and start with a slip knot. This stitch is a multiple of any multiple plus 1. Now this is the way I learned. I mean, you can do a slip knot any way you want to. But what I do is I take the tail end, go underneath the yarn, get a hole, you got your hole there, go through the hook, pull the yarn up, and you've got your slip knot. Now, as I mentioned, that this is a, well, maybe that'll work. That didn't go very well, did it? No. Alright, let's try that again. Alright. There we go.
Now I'm going to go ahead
and chain. Now I'm going to go ahead and chain 15. So it'll be 14 plus the 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. And you should have 15 chains. Let me get this up closer. I don't know, hopefully, well, there we go, it'll focus. Alright, so for this stitch, we want to skip the first 2 chains. So that's this one here. We're not counting the one on the hook. So it's 1, 2. We're going to go into that 3rd chain. You'll want to yarn over, however you want to yarn over. Everybody does this differently. So we're going to skip the 1, 2, 3. Make sure you have your yarn over your hook. Go into that 3rd chain. Pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook. You'll yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Just made your first half double crochet. And then you'll just continue on. No, you don't need to skip any other chains. Just keep going down until the end. Now go ahead and do that. And then I'll let you know how I do the end after the last stitch. Everybody does it differently. I'll show you 2 different ways that you can do it. And again, it's your preference on how you want to end and start the next row. Go to the next one, pull up a loop, got 3 loops on your hook, go through all 3. Now this yarn, I'm just making sure, because it is a little splitty, that I'm getting all of the strands. Again, 3 loops on the hook, go all through all 3. And you can make this as long as you want. There is no, like I said, there is no set number of stitches for your starting chain. So you can make it a washcloth size. There's the 3, go through all 3. Yarn over, go into the next chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 loops. You may have to, depending on what kind of yarn you're using, you may have to be careful that it doesn't catch any of the yarn that's splitting that you're going through.
I'm trying to make sure this stays in focus.
Again, I'm trying to make sure this stays in focus, but I'm also trying to make sure I'm going in the right. Next chain, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. Yarn over, go into the next loop, pull up a loop, go through, I meant chain, not loop, that's chain. Go through all 3. And you just keep doing that to the end, and then I'll meet you back up at the end of the row. I'm just going to stay on here. I'm not going to stop and then start back up because I only did the 15 chains. So yarn over, go through the next loop or chain, pull up a loop, go through all 3 loops. And this is the repeat. This is a 1-row repeat. Stitch. Alright. So I've gotten to the last chain. That was the one right by the slip knot where it's tightened, where you connected and made that knot there. You want to make sure that you get into that one. You don't want to miss that one. Now, I will only, so here's the I'm going to show you the difference. So if you chain 2 and turn your work, you're going to skip the first half double crochet, and then you'll go into the next one.
Pull up a loop, yarn over,
pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3.
If you are new
to crochet, that was kind of splitting on me there, so I'm going to redo that real quick. If you are new to crochet, you'll want to make sure and put a stitch marker in the chain right below this, the one on the hook, because you're going to need to go into that chain when you get back on the next row to make the same amount of half double crochets. Okay, let's do this one again. Skip this one, go into the next one. Up.
It's not bad yarn. It's actually really
see,
nice
it's not bad yarn. It's actually really nice and soft. I have not worked with this yet, so. Alright, next one. Now you're not going to skip any more. You're just going to continue down to the end of the row. Let me go ahead and pull some more yarn out here. Just bumped my camera. Okay. And why the heck did that do that? Okay, there we go. I almost did another stitch. We're not doing that stitch today, so. Yarn over, go into the next one. Pull up a loop. Yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Yarn over. Go into the next one, pull up a loop, yarn over, go through all 3 loops. And you'll repeat this again until the end of the row, and I'll show you how to end the row with this way if you do the chain 2 at from the previous row. Go through all 3.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm using yarn you guys can see.
I'm trying to make sure that I'm using yarn you guys can see clearly as well. So if there's any particular color you do not want me to use, let me know in the comment section. I don't want to use something you guys can't see.
Yarn over, go through the next chain.
Yarn over, go through the next chain.
And again, you'll do this till the end of the row.
And again, you'll do this till the end of the row.
We're coming up on the last one.
Alright, we're coming up on the last 1, 2, 3 technically stitches, because we have to get into this turning chain down here. So, go through all 3.
Now this is the second to last stitch.
Over. Now this is the second to last stitch. You'll want to make sure that if you're a beginner and you decide to use this method, or this is the way that the pattern tells you to, when you chain 2, 3, whatever it tells you to do, you'll want to make sure that you mark that chain, the last chain, because you need to go into that for your last stitch. So since we did, I did skip this first one down here, we need to make sure and go into this one here. This is part of the turning chain from the starting chain. You can get into it however you can.
If you can get through both sides,
if you can get through both sides of it, wonderful. If you cannot, that's okay too. Just do the best you can. Because if you're not real loose with it, it can be a challenge, like it's going to be for me probably. But that's okay. Okay, come on.
Just do the best you can.
There we go. All right. Just do the best you can. And you pull up a loop, go through all three. So that'll be the last stitch on this row. And then if you don't want to do it that way, you can do a chain one, turn your work.
See, that's why I don't like it that way.
See, that's why I don't like it that way. Now I know that there's a lot of people that do have you chain 2 or 3 or whatever and skip that first stitch, but I don't like doing that. So I'm going to show you what I do. So I do a chain 1, and it doesn't matter what stitch that I'm doing, if it's the single crochet or half double, whoops, there we go. I keep bumping everything here. I always just chain 1, and even if I do chain 2 or something to get to the height, I will only, I won't skip that first chain. So we're going to go back into that first chain, yarn over, into the first chain, pull up a loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3 loops.
And it does make it the edging a little nicer.
And it does make it the edging a little nicer when you do it this way. It may not at first, but it does look nicer. Right. And then just repeat that all the way down to the last one.
And I'll show you how this gets finished.
Since we used that first stitch. Yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through all 3 loops. Yarn over, pull up a loop, and go through all 3 loops. Yarn over, pull up a loop, go through all 3. Alright, I will meet you down at the end of the row. You can either pause it if you want to, or you can keep playing and then pause it to where I'm at, like the second to last stitch.
And I know a lot of you that are watching this
video may not be new to crochet, and that's wonderful. I really appreciate your support in watching the video. If you have any suggestions for me, please let me know.
Stitch tutorials,
or if there's a specific stitch that you'd like to see that nobody's done, or you're still having trouble understanding on how to do it, just let me know in the comment section. I'll be glad to look into it and to see if I can help you understand it a little bit better.
Alright, I'm at the second to last.
Well, I am at the last stitch. No, I'm not. Wait. I
still have to go into this one.
This is technically the last stitch. Because this is technically the last stitch. So I will show you that.
And then I'll show you
on how to end it with using the
those chain 1 and into the first one.
I know this looks a little weird over here. It'll straighten itself out once you get higher in the stitches. Well, once I get higher, just depends on how you want to do it. So I'm going to go ahead and go into this top of this turning chain, which is right here. My fingers will work with me today. That would be lovely. Alright. and go through all
So
three.
that's what
Okay.
it looks like.
So that's what it looks like.
Pull some more yarn out.
I'm just
I'm
going
gonna
to pull
do
some
one
more
more
yarn
row
out. So I'm going to do one
with
more
the
row
chain one version,
with
because that's
the
way
chained
that I
one
prefer. I
version
wanted to
because
show
that's
you that
the
you
way
can
that I
do the
prefer. But I wanted to show
chain
you that you can
and
do the
still
chain 2 and still
get that done. So there's this big
get
space
that done.
I
So
don't like
there's
that.
this big
If you
space here.
do
I
the
don't like
chain
that.
one
If you do
method,
the chain
you
1
don't have that
method,
big space.
you don't
You
have that
could
big
just-
space.
Even with the chain
I mean, you
2,
could just,
still go into that
even with the
first-
chain 2,
I'll
you could
show you
still
how to
go
do
into that
then.
first.
If
I'll
you
show
do
you
the
how to do
chain
that
2,
then.
don't skip
If you
that
do the
first
chain 2,
we'll do
but
that
don't
one
skip
next.
that first chain, we'll do
So
that one
way you
next.
can
And so that way you
decide
can
which way you prefer
decide which way
on
you
doing the
prefer
stitch.
on doing the stitch.
Okay, chain 2,
Okay, chain 2.
and turn your work.
Okay, and turn your
You'll
work.
Not skip this stitch.
And then you'll
Yarn
not
over and
skip
go right
this
back
stitch.
into
You're going
that
to
stitch.
yarn over and go right back into that stitch.
Pull through all 3.
Pull
and
through all
continue
3.
down the rest of the row
And then
the same
continue
way.
down the rest of the row the same way.
Yarn over, go into the next
Yarn
stitch,
over,
pull
go
up a
into the
loop,
next
yarn
stitch,
over,
pull up a loop,
go
yarn
through all
over,
3.
go through
And
all
then I
3.
will meet you at the other
And then
end.
I will meet you at the other end.
And I do apologize if I'm making this a little confusing.
And I do
for you,
apologize
but
if
I
I'm
wanted to
making
show
this a little
you
confusing for you, but I
different
want to
ways
show
start
you
and end
different
your
ways that you can
crochet,
start and end
and it's all
your
your
crochet,
preference unless
and
you're
it's
following
all
a
your
pattern.
preference unless you're following a
In my
pattern.
opinion, you can always alter
In my own
patterns.
opinion,
Kind
you
of
can
like
always
giving you an
alter a
idea
pattern.
for
It's kind
something,
of like giving you an
and
idea for
just
something,
going
and
changing it how
you
see
just
fit.
going and changing it how
Especially
you
with the
see
start and
fit,
stop.
especially with the start and stop. And there went my phone. Oh well, it's okay.
Almost there.
Alright, almost there, almost
And
there.
then I'll show you how to do the next row.
And then I'll show you how to do the next
because
row,
You'll want to see.
because you'll want to see, especially if you're new, you'll want to see how to end the row that we just started on the next one.
One more stitch
All
to
right.
go into.
I have one more stitch to go into. You'll want to make sure that you get this last stitch here. If you miss it, it's your work. You're going to be losing a stitch, and it'll start to shrink on you. Don't want that to happen. So,
And this is from the
and this is from the
chain 1, I do believe. Yeah.
chain 1, I do believe. Yeah, the chain 1.
Chain I. No, that
Or
was
chain
from the.
I. No, that was from the.
That was from the chain 1.
Yeah, that was from the chain 1.
So we got the 3 on there.
Okay, so we got the 3 on there,
Pull through.
and you'll go pull through.
Now, this side still might. It still might.
Now
curl
this
on
side
you
still
and
might,
look a little
it still
weird on
might
the
curl
bottom,
on you
but
and
can
look a
always
little
fix that
weird
with
on the
edging.
bottom, but you can always fix that with an edging.
Half double crochet is very easy. and
Half
it
double
doesn't
crochet is
take
very
long
easy, and
to
it doesn't
get a
take
project
long
done.
to
And
get a
my stuff
project
looks a
done.
little uneven
And I
right
know that
now
my stuff
because
looks a
I
little
keep changing
uneven right
how I
now,
start
but that's
and
because I keep changing how I start and finish
So that's
this
what it looks like
pattern.
right now. I hate that
So that's what it
driving
looks
me
like right
nuts,
now. I
that hole right
hate
there.
that's driving me nuts, that hole right there.
So now I'm going to
All right.
go ahead.
So
and
now I'm
gonna
going
just
to go ahead
chain
and
one
I'm going to just go ahead and chain
for this
1
next one, this next row.
for this next one,
Turn your
this
work,
next row. Turn your work.
Gonna yarn over, go into that very first
Going to yarn
stitch,
over,
not
go into
skipping
that very
stitch.
first stitch. We're not skipping that stitch.
Yarn over, pull through all 3 loops.
Yarn over and pull through all 3
You'll
loops.
repeat this till the end
And again,
of
you'll
the
repeat
row,
this
and
till
I'll
the
show you how
end
to
of
finish
the row, and I'll show you how to finish the end of the row.
I hope everybody is enjoying their day.
I hope everybody is enjoying their day.
I am recording this on
I am recording this on Sunday, November 24th, if I'm not mistaken. No. Yeah, November 24th.
Just a few days before Thanksgiving.
Just a few days before Thanksgiving.
You will see this the day before.
You will see this the day before Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, I might do an impromptu.
Thanksgiving, I might do an impromptu video with my husband, saying just say Happy Thanksgiving to everybody who's celebrating. I am going to be doing, like I mentioned in another video, that I'm going to be doing just the basic stitches for a little while, and then I'm going to go into more intricate stitches as well. Okay, so this stitch, I can get this thing here. This stitch here
would be your last stitch.
Would be your last stitch.
With using the first.
With using the first
stitch of the row.
Stitch of the row. So just want to make sure that you get that one. The one that's below it, this one here, that doesn't count. Now if I can get my hook in there, that'd be great. Nothing worse than doing a tutorial and getting your hook not going in. And you can see that it's not that stitch, because if you look at your stuff, your edging will be lined up. If you wind up putting a stitch there, and it will poke out a little bit, so it won't be straight.
That's the way I prefer to do it.
But that's the way I prefer to do it. I'm going to do it one more time just to show you. So chain 1, turn your work, yarn over. I need to pull some more yarn out.
It's also facing the opposite direction.
It's also facing the opposite direction.
Okay. Alright, yarn over.
Okay, there we go. Alright, yarn over. Don't. You want to go into that first stitch, yarn over, or pull up a loop, yarn over, and go through all 3 loops. Over.
And you'll do this all the way down to the end of the row.
And you'll do this all the way down to the end of the row, and I'll show you how to end this row. And I'm trying to make sure that I keep in focus here, but you know, it doesn't always work that well. If you hear any noise behind me, it's probably my husband's computer running. He's taking a nap right now, so I figured I'd get in the office while he was napping to get some videos for this coming week. Alright, again, don't want to miss this stitch on the, because sometimes it looks like it's not the last stitch. So just make sure that you get this last stitch. Again, if you miss it, you'll notice it. It may take a few rows, but you may notice it. Alright. There we go. Alright. So that's my half double crochet. Couple different ways that you can start after the first row. You can either chain 2 and skip the first stitch, which I don't like that because look at this hole. That is so driving me nuts. It's a pet peeve, I guess you could say. And then the next row I did the way that you would start if you started it with using the first stitch and how to end it that way. You can always go back and watch that again if you'd like to. And then the next few rows were just using the chain 1 method and going in, because the one was the chain 2, but still using that first stitch. So you can chain 2 to get to the height, and then use that first stitch to even it out. So you're not worrying about the turning chain. That's one thing that got me really confused when I first started crocheting, and I've learned on how to do this method with the chain 1 and going back into that first stitch by Crystal from Bag O Day. She's a great teacher. She puts out patterns quite frequently. I don't know if she ever did any like basic stitch tutorials or like just getting into crochet type of tutorials. How I learned from her was from one of her bag patterns, and I don't even know how it happened, but it just clicked for me. So I'm hoping that this helps anybody who's new. Again, if you have any suggestions for me, if you'd like to see a different color being used, because this is like a really like light minty blue. I mean, I know I don't want to use black. Obviously, no black. No black, because I've got black here, and black is very hard to see with. So, that is going to be it for today's tutorial. Again, if you're somebody who knows how to crochet and watch the video to support the channel, thank you very much for that. And if you have any suggestions for any type of stitch tutorial that you haven't seen anywhere, or something that you're having trouble with, let me know and I'll see what I can do for you. You can always email me as well. My email is always in the description box below. Alright, well, until next time, I hope you all stay safe and stay crafty.